pressures of being a black man is that, going back to my initial struggle, the self consciousness, we are often burdened by other people's expectations. It's a burden because these conceptions, and which are really misconceptions, of black men are typically informed by imperialist and colonialist and white supremacist ideals of blackness, right? That are really anchored in slavery. That you have to take on everything. That you have to work, 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 work.
I guess one of my greatest struggles being a black man today is trying to belong in a world that doesn't want me here.
Maybe it started with my mother, who, like most black parents, could only hear me through the sound of her own voice. Or maybe it started with my great-grandmother, who stifled my mother's emotions so much they flooded into me. Or maybe it was my father, who lived his whole childhood dangling from the voice of his father and sought for me to sway in a similar way initially. We only know how to love the ways we are loved, or the opposite. So maybe I learned the opposite. I grew up around a love so strong it rendered me invisible. Or maybe it had nothing to do with family. Maybe it was the white girl in 3rd grade who told me I was unattractive because I was dark-skinned. Or maybe it was all the jokes wrapped around my throat in middle school. Or maybe it was the first time a set of hands showed me that honoring my consent was optional. Or the first time I expressed a need that was ignored. Or the first time I was asked to explain my want for safety. Or the first person I felt safe with after that, choosing another's body for comfort. Or maybe it's prophecy. I was born with an umbilical cord cuddling my neck, and maybe that's prophetic environment. I mean, isn't numbing just another kind of asphyxiation? I've heard this depression will challenge my self-love, but isn't numbing one of the most radical forms of self-love? To care for myself so much that I stop myself from feeling pain again?
What way were you taught to deal with your mental health? Now that one right there, that's when it gets a little tricky, because typically, stereotypically, however you want to say it, in the black community, talking about mental health is like taboo. You just can't talk about that topic. You can't talk about it, especially as a man. You can't talk about your feelings and stuff that happened to you, or you looked at like you saw for you a sucker.
I don't think I was ever explicitly taught that, oh, this is how you should deal with your mental health. So I kind of stumbled my way.
So I was always taught that, like, you need to figure things out on your own. You can't get down on yourself. If something happens, figure out your next move. Don't stay stagnant, and just keep pushing.
So what are our thoughts so far, with stereotypes concerning black men? I know I've definitely heard of black men being over-sexualized and them having to be like a product of their environment a little too much. Also, I've heard of like them having to be like so good at sports, also having to watch sports, because I guess if you don't watch sports, you're not a man. And them like, being obsessed with like white women.
Stereotypes that I've encountered as a black man. Hey, Classy, this paper doesn't sound like you. What do you mean it doesn't sound like me? When what he was getting at, it was that it was too well written, that it didn't sound like something that I would produce.
You're just going to be a drug dealer. Black men are bigger, faster, stronger. They're more capable of being those sports figures. And, looking at how different sports, particularly football, view black men, especially in the draft process, is very related to the slave process of selling slaves.
Over sexualized, like they made us seem like very sex crazed over like white women or just women in general.
Hey y'all, so what do we think about this last question? Because honestly, it's giving master manipulation and very much predator.
Rape is rape. Pedophilia is pedophilia.
I'm instilling in these youth like what it means to love and respect self, and to study to know thyself before you attempt to even give yourself to another. And so when you're left to fend for self, when you don't know thyself, a lot of things become lost.
Raised on cloudy water and 40 ounces, and Jesus Christ and crack rocks and New York fried chicken on Market Street and Pete's Pizza and Easy Mart, while I used to steal hot pickles in AI Middle.
I have history I come from a place in Africa. I'm a part of some tribe that has culture, and that makes me feel like I always have a home.
I'm 100% comfortable and confident in my skin.
That I love being a black man.
I'm a young black man doing all that I can to stand. Oh, but when I look around and I see what's being done to my kind every day, I'm being haunted as prey. My people don't want no trouble. We've had enough struggle. I just want to live. God protect me.